Hey guys, in this video we're going to talk about Meghan Markle not attending the King's coronation, the fact that Jamie Foxx was hospitalized, and Amanda Bynes' ex-fiancee speaking out about her recent breakdown. Alright, so it's been confirmed that Prince Harry will be attending his father's coronation alone, while Meghan stays behind in California. Yesterday, Buckingham Palace confirmed his attendance at the crowning ceremony at London's Westminster Abbey on May the 6th. Although there are 3 days of events surrounding the coronation, like a concert at Windsor Castle and a volunteer day, Harry is most likely not going to go to the other events aside from the crowning ceremony. It was reported that he wanted to be at the service to support his father at this most important time in his life. Meanwhile, Meghan will be staying in California with their 2 young children, Archie and Lilibet. May the 6th is also Archie's 4th birthday, so she'll probably be spending the weekend celebrating with him and his sister. Her decision to reject the invitation is certainly interesting, because it goes to show you that the family is still very much divided. As for Harry, it's possible he accepted out of obligation. After all, how would it look if both of them turned it down? But there's also another possibility which is even more likely, that he genuinely wants to have a real reunion with his family. In January, he said that he's not on speaking terms with any of them, so this coronation would give him the chance to try and repair some of these strained relationships. But after everything that's happened in the past couple of months, there's no doubt that tensions are going to be at an all-time high. No one knows if he'll actually be meeting face to face with his father and his older brother. Although one thing is for sure, more eyes are going to be on him than ever before. Even when Harry attended the funeral of his grandmother Queen Elizabeth II, people discussed everything from whether or not he would be allowed to wear his military uniform to where he was actually seated. This kind of public interest is only going to be heightened after the release of Harry and Meghan's 6-part Netflix series, and the release of his scandalous memoir Spare. For a long time, it genuinely seemed like neither of them would be invited to the coronation. In February, a source close to the couple revealed that they had not yet received word of the event. Then on March the 5th, their spokesperson released a statement saying, "I can confirm the Duke has recently received email correspondence from His Majesty's office regarding the coronation. An immediate decision on whether the Duke and Duchess will attend will not be disclosed by us at this time." From that point on, there was endless speculation over their acceptance. A few weeks ago, it was reported that Harry had tried to secure a meeting with Charles in order to feel more comfortable at the event, but apparently that didn't end up working out because the king was far too busy. According to a report from the Mirror, Harry claimed that he wasn't going to come if he felt the atmosphere would be as toxic as it was during the Queen's funeral. He said he wants to reconcile with his family and it's their call, but so far nothing has changed. While speaking about the event in a January interview, Harry said, "There's a lot that can happen between now and then, but you know the door is always open, the ball is in their court. There's a lot to be discussed and I really hope that they are willing to sit down and talk about it." So for him, it was kind of like the perfect opportunity to try and patch things up with his family. In a separate interview, he said, "Meghan and I have continued to say that we will openly apologize for anything that we did wrong, but every time we ask that question, no one's telling us the specifics of anything. There needs to be a constructive conversation, one that can happen in private that doesn't get leaked." He was referring to one of the biggest accusations that he made against the royal family, that they regularly feed the press unflattering information about each other in exchange for positive headlines about themselves. Harry singled out Camilla and accused her of leaking private conversations to the media in order to try and fix her public image after she married Charles. Harry also alleged that William did the exact same thing. He said, "To see my brother's office copy the very same thing that we promised the 2 of us would never ever do, that was heartbreaking. I would far rather get destroyed in the press than play along with this game." He claimed that William fed the British press negative stories about him and his wife to try and get the heat off of him. Harry also hinted that Kate might have been jealous of all the media attention that Meghan was getting when they first got together, because apparently she was better at being a royal than someone who was actually born to do it. He thinks this jealousy is what led to the increase of negative stories about Meghan in 2018. So after everything that he's said and done, you might be wondering, how are William and Kate going to feel about seeing Harry again, or about the fact that Meghan is not going to be there? Well, according to royal experts, the couple are probably going to be relieved that she won't be attending the coronation, simply because less focus is going to be on them. Right now, that's probably a good thing. Even though the 2 of them have not spoken a word about Meghan and Harry recently, it hasn't stopped their names from being dragged through the mud every time a new interview comes out. So rather than adding fuel to the fire, they're going to stick to their silence until the drama dies down. It's not a very effective strategy for defending themselves against the allegations, but in the long run, it might prove to be a better decision than speaking out. Alright, now there is some distressing news that's going on with Jamie Foxx. He was was hospitalized on Tuesday morning after suffering a medical emergency. According to TMZ, his condition was serious enough that his family rushed to the hospital to be with him. His daughter Corinne Foxx issued a statement on Instagram saying he is recovering from a medical complication. She wrote, "We wanted to share that my father, Jamie Foxx, experienced a medical complication yesterday. Luckily, due to quick action and great care, he is already on his way to recovery. We know how beloved he is and appreciate your prayers. The family asks for privacy during this time." No more details were given about his medical condition, but his daughter did say that his condition is already improving. Jamie was in Atlanta shooting a new Netflix comedy called Back in Action, which marked Cameron Diaz's return to acting for the first time in almost a decade. While Netflix hasn't given us very much information on the plot of the movie, pictures have since been leaked from the set, which shows both actors in a field cheering on a girls' soccer team. Jamie was wearing what looked like a coach's jacket with the word Dragons written on it and a whistle around his neck. So that gives us some idea about what the movie is going to be about. Although fans are excited to see the two of them working together again, apparently it hasn't been going very smoothly at all. Last month it was reported that Jamie had a meltdown on the set, which left a lot of people wondering what really happened. According to The Sun, the drama resulted in production being halted and 4 people being fired. An inside source spoke about the situation and said there have been some issues on set and Jamie had a major meltdown over it all. He demanded the problems be sorted immediately and sacked 4 of the production staff. Some people working on it are totally fed up with how this has played out, and Jamie has become pretty unpopular. But there might be a pretty good reason for his outburst. Apparently, one staffer who worked on the set tried to involve Jamie in a $40,000 scam. This same employee was said to have been involved in other attempted scams involving wealthy celebrities. So it's possible that Jamie caught on to what he was doing because he called the police to the set of the movie. The source went on to say, "This film has been a nightmare. It sounds as though they tried to offer up a Rolex watch as part of the deal, but now there's an investigation into everything going on. People will be glad when this thing finally wraps." But even though the filming has now finished, Jamie's meltdown allegedly had a pretty big impact on Cameron Diaz. This was her first movie that she's done in almost 10 years, and so on the set drama just reminded her why she walked away from Hollywood in the first place. In 2014, she stepped away from acting, and 4 years later, she announced that she was fully retired. The actress went on Kevin Hart's talk show and explained that she was only functioning at a high level when it came to her career, and that's where she put all her energy into. She said that other parts of her life were being handed off to other people, so she could just focus solely on acting. Eventually, Cameron realized that it just wasn't enough, because she was seriously neglecting other areas of herself as a person. So her family was also a major factor in her retirement. We know that she loves being a mom more than anything else in the world, and of course she's never very happy with the thought of being separated from her kids for long periods of time. After years away from the camera, Jamie eventually convinced her to come back into the business. The two of them are actually pretty close, and they've known each other for more than 2 decades. In fact, before she retired, the very last movie she did was with Jamie, and it was the 2014 musical Annie. So fans are really excited to see her on the big screen again, even if this is just a one-time thing. Alright, now if you've been keeping up with this latest incident involving Amanda Bynes, there has been a new development in the story that might give us some more answers about what really happened. 3 weeks ago, it was reported that she was found roaming the streets naked and alone near downtown LA in the early hours of the morning. She was going through a psychotic episode, and thankfully she was able to wave a car down and tell the driver to call 911. She was then taken to a nearby police station and placed on a 5150 psych hold while her mental health status was getting evaluated. At the time, no one knew exactly what happened to trigger this horrific event, although many signs pointed to a possible mental breakdown. Now her ex-fiance Paul Michael has spoken to TMZ about what he thinks led up to the incident. He said that they were having relationship problems the week before, and they had decided to break up. Paul claimed that 2 weeks before the incident, Amanda disappeared for 3 days, and eventually she came home with another guy. He said she seemed like a different person. Of course, this caused an argument between them, and she allegedly said that she didn't care about him anymore and broke things off. Paul then packed up his things and left their home. He said that he was shocked at her disappearance and behavior because up until that point, she seemed stable and happy, and she was just focused on her nail care business. Before returning to a psychiatric hospital, Amanda was spotted out on the streets of Hollywood on St. Patrick's Day. A TikTok user named Caitlin Hotfox recognized her on the street and filmed a video of them walking together. Thankfully, she was able to understand that Amanda needed a little bit of help, and she seemed to be respectful of her state of mind. In the clip, Amanda could be seen holding her arm and looking off into the distance. At one point, she smiles and waves to the camera before focusing her eyes back on the street. She didn't say much in the video, but it looked like she was happy to have found someone to hang on to. The woman in the video left a comment saying, "Happy she's getting the help she needs. She was sweet, gave her some money and talked. Sometimes people just need someone to talk to." Something similar was reported to have happened a few days before her psychotic episode. An eyewitness spoke to Entertainment Tonight and claimed that they had seen Amanda during the early hours of the morning. They said no one really recognized or noticed her. She was walking tensely and by herself. A woman started walking with her and tried to help her. Amanda then asked the woman to hold her. She seemed to be in a loving, wholesome mood even though she was clearly out of it. She asked to be dropped off at her friend's place in Beverly Hills, but when the woman went to drop her off, Amanda's friend did not answer the door. Apparently she didn't want to go home to her boyfriend either because she said that he kicked her out. So she then asked to be dropped back off onto Hollywood Boulevard. Now these details seem to contradict her ex-fiance's story because he claimed that he was the one who packed up his things and left their home. But either way, they were obviously having some pretty big relationship issues at the time of Amanda's breakdown. We don't really know if that was what caused the psychotic episode, but it probably didn't help that she had one less person to turn to. Amanda was released on Monday from a Southern California facility after medical staff determined that she was ready to get back to her day-to-day life. Once she returned home, she started receiving outpatient treatment from her own home in order to try and get her back onto the path of recovery. As for her parents, they have made it abundantly clear that they aren't considering another conservatorship despite everything that's just happened, because they believe it was a good sign that she was at least able to call the police on herself and had the ability to recognize when she needed help. This latest news was especially upsetting given just how much progress Amanda has made recently. She was supposed to be joining her fellow castmates from All That for the show's largest reunion since the series ended 18 years ago, which would have been her first public appearance in a very long time. But fans were devastated when she pulled out at the last minute. We don't know what the future holds, but she has a lot of people wishing the best for her and hoping that she can make a full recovery now that she's gotten the help that she needs. So what do you guys think about this latest story? Please let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next video.